Okay, so I've got an early break today, which is excellent. It means I can come out to yet another tropical cafe. There's the cigar shop over there. So there's a lad over there with his cigar, with his laptop, working away. This is a true gangster laptop lifestyle. To sit in a cafe with a big, fat Cuban cigar, doing your work. And then the lovely girls in the coffee shop here, yeah, just preparing my ice mocha. My one vice. My one vice. I've got to slow down on this vicious excess of caffeine consumption, but for the time being, whatever. So I just wanted to come in today with a quick, simple principle, which I think it applies regardless of your lifestyle. It applies regardless of your lifestyle, whether you're a nomad, whether you're a local guy. And it is the following principle. Most problems have a geographical solution. Most problems have got a geographical solution. And if geography isn't, in some cases, geography is the problem. And in other cases, geography is a component. Geography is a component. Okay. And ultimately, obviously, it's more than that. It's the culture that you're in. It's the territory that you're in. It might be the actual system that you're in as well, in terms of where you're registering your business affairs and so on. But most issues have got a geographical solution. And let me, for the sake of argument, let me just illustrate how this is the case. Even if you're a local person in your own city, you've got no intention of moving, how could there be a geographical solution to any of my problems? Mostly there is. Let's say you've got a business issue. You know, your cafe isn't doing so well. There very likely is a geographical reason for that. You know, location, right? People who even live within one city, you know, they're very focused on how house prices are going in different parts of the city and so on. So you're always going to be dealing with geography, no matter what the scenario. If you have a relationship problem, you know, the ultimate solution is a geographical solution. You're going to leave that person. You're physically going to move away from that person. And that again would happen even if you were still living in the same city. You've got to move to a different part of the city or whatever. But on a much broader level, and actually, in my opinion, in my experience, a much more interesting level, is there are just so many solutions out there that are... Gracias. ¿Tienes un código de internet? Okay, dame un segundo. Okay, gracias. Sorry, just getting the Wi-Fi connected up here. But yeah, on a much more interesting level, sorry, I'm just going to turn to check out my favorite car in the world. Entering the car park here, the Jeep Wrangler. That is such a cool fucking car. It's the only car I'm interested in. But yeah, just referring to geographical solutions for, you know, like a more of an international mindset. I found this early on. I even remember. I remember at 13 going on a school exchange to France. They are basically not legal anymore. The way that we did it back in those days. The teachers told me we just can't legally do it anymore. But they would just send us to a family, and like we'd stay with that family for like 10 days, and then that family would send their kids to us, and they would stay with us. There's basically barely any vetting process going on. It was just like the school were like, yeah, the family seems all right, yeah, nice. It was an exchange. And I went on my first one of those when I was fucking 12. Because I was good at French, so that my school teacher said, oh, we can send you. You know, there's a few of us who are quite good. And I remember being 12 years old, and we're like, the dad of this family is like basically making me drink wine and stuff. And then we go back when we're 13 and we're like, shit, we can just straight up buy wine in bars here and like beer and stuff when we're like 13. And then other school trips like as well. I remember like the geographical solution to our inability to smoke and drink. And we don't smoke cigars, but it was just like, moronic 14-year-olds, was to go to Paris, walk into a bar and order a triple vodka. And they serve you. 14, they didn't give a shit. I just thought it was dumb English kids. Anyway, crude example of a geographical solution to our problem. Obviously, that's just a silly one. It goes so much deeper than that. You will find when you go to different places, you will be seen in a different light. In a way, it's a fresh start for you. You don't owe it to the place that you grew up in to suddenly go, right, I want to go back and become the king of Chesterfield. That's my dream. No, like, you don't have to do that. You could go somewhere else and go like, yeah, I'm here now. I'm enjoying this new place. Hey, this is weird. I'm getting treated better by these people than I was in people in my hometown. There's a guy I follow online who talks about how he came to Europe. He's from the US, provincial USA, and he was always a man who was into the finer things of life, right? He liked the opera, he liked fine wine, etc. And he got to Europe and he was like, wow, I'm meeting these girls and they're gorgeous and they're like, they want to come with me to the opera, whereas in the US, he didn't, the culture really wasn't that way. You didn't find girls like that. So that's your personal life. That's something I've found over and over again. God, go through the list of stuff that I like. I like girls who can dance. I like girls who don't drink and smoke too much. Can have a drink, but smoking, no drugs. Girl who's sensual and just basically womanly, essentially. And who wants a guy who acts in a certain way and she expects to act in a certain way as well. Quid pro quo sort of thing. Easy to find all over the world. Hardest place to find it is probably the UK. You can still find it in the UK though. So my personal options just kind of exploded once I started to look more overseas, and it's just vibes as well, when you're with someone who's just so like they're in their essence, man. They're in their essence. You're with a Brazilian fucking girl out on a date, she's in her essence. And they're kind of crazy, but they're still in their essence. You with a girl from wherever, the Caribbean, Africa, African girls, man. Wow. So yeah, they're all great experiences. It's good for your self-esteem as well to know actually you're like, wait, these girls are better and they actually want me. It's good for your self-esteem, man. And then, in terms of finding your cultural fit as well, again, it's not to moan about the UK, man, because it's weird, but I always want the best for the UK. And it's, when the England football match comes on, do you know what I mean? I'm a crazy Englishman just as much as anyone else. But the culture, the way it's gone, in terms of, for me, the promotion of degenerate alcoholic, like borderline alcoholic behavior and degeneracy, I can't stand it. I've never been able to stand it, really, from a young age. So for me, like, just like, all right, lads, we're going out fucking on the piss, and I'm like, I don't really want to drink, to be honest, man. Basically, I was an outsider because of that. So weird. Zuby talks about it, how like England's one of the only countries, if not the only country, where you have to give a reason why you don't drink. At one point, I just tell people I was Muslim. I'm not even joking. If I met new people, I just I don't drink, I'm Muslim. And they fucking leave it. Ridiculous when I think back. And it's not even an ideological thing, because I do drink, I just don't drink to excess, like one glass of wine basically. So I had these experiences, like when I went to live in France, even just like meeting, like chatting with like French people, with people from the French Caribbean. I don't know, I just like the way I like the way those guys got down, man. Like the French are proper adventurers. The French guys are proper adventurers. Any country you go into in the world, you think you're an adventurer, you meet a couple of French dudes, they're just doing whatever they're doing. They're always a bit perverted. They're always looking for some weird positive something, or they're just general perverts. But you speak to them and like, oh, what are you up to, lads? And they're like, oh yes, like we go to the river, we're going to fish the piranha. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, yes, you can fish piranha. I'm like, yep. You're gonna go fish piranhas. It's just you can eat them like raw. You take off the what the fuck? They absolutely love adventure, man. The French love adventure. Middle class French men, they're out all over the world. They don't make a big deal of it. It's just the norm. The norm. So many mulatto fucking children all over the world because of these Frenchmen. Fucking cool guys, man. And also, there's some you have these really intellectual conversations with as well. It's just fucking great. It's just interesting. So I've always had like more of an international mind. There's some countries that you get on well with. Spanish, I bully them to death because of that. They're fucking amazing. That's why I try and bully them. But they're absolutely tremendous. They're so good at street chit chat, street culture. Incredible. Yeah. So you go to places, you may find. I know there's guys go out to Asia and they find that's my place, man. That's my cultural fit. So the solution to a cultural fit, a personal problem, is a geographical move. Lastly, and I think probably almost the most obvious one is a business one. Different territories have different rules, regulations for businesses. They have different policies on taxation, etc. If you're an American, they have global taxation. So if you're an American citizen, you can't just move out of the country. If you left the country for 10 years, you're still supposed to pay tax in the US. Obviously to fund their wars, certainly not to fund their healthcare system. So there's more Americans than you would think who rescind their passports once they get money. Not all, but some of them do. Interesting. And then just general economic opportunities. There may be an opportunity overseas that there isn't in your own country, even if your country is a rich one. I've got so many economic opportunities in my head, to be honest, at this point. It's a fucking joke. Places I've lived in where I go, this place, everything is set up to grow. Everything is here. And the direction of travel that I see some of the established countries, Western Europe particularly, going in, I don't think is a great direction of travel. It's not collapsing right now. Over time, though, we'll see what happens. I'm getting excited talking about this because I don't know, I can hear it in my voice. Economic opportunities, investing opportunities, most of those are going to be geographical. So yeah, the importance of geography, most problems have a geographical solution.